Caroline Damamori from the Hartford Current. Can you just kind of talk us through what it felt like in the third and fourth quarter when you really got rolling and and almost willed your team into the lead a couple of times?
I was just trying to be aggressive and taking the shots they were giving us, and just trying to do what I could to help.
Caroline, Alexa Philippi from the Current. Coach has said before that you play in spurts, but in some ways it's good because if you don't have a good first half, then you're going to keep playing and you're not going to get down on yourself. Is that something that you take pride in or just have had over time just to be able to keep going and have a next play mentality?
Yeah, I think I've just kind of learned that throughout my career, just trying not to get down on little things. And if you let a couple bad plays pile up, then it turns into a bad game.
Caroline, Howard Megdal from the Next. Just given what the team has been going through over the past few weeks and, who you've been missing, but also the fact that you've gotten some wins along the way and, playing some of these top teams tough, I'm just wondering where you think the state of the team is right now. What's the mentality in that locker room?
I think we're all just going to try to come back and see what we can do to keep getting better. And there's definitely a lot of fight in this team, so just trying to see what we can do to keep building off of it.
Thank you.
Hey, Caroline, just building off of Howard's question, I'm curious as to how you believe the half-court offensive flow maybe has improved since the Georgia Tech game?
Yeah, I mean, that game we really had only had one practice without a bunch of people out, so I think just being able to play it more and do it every day in practice, I think, yeah, it's gotten better.
Caroline, I know this team doesn't like to make excuses, but you did only have 8 players. Was it a matter of kind of running out of gas there in the fourth quarter, or why do you think that they were able to dominate the final 10 minutes?
No, I think they just hit the shots that they needed to hit, and I mean, we were battling all game. I don't think it was because of how many people we had. We had enough.
Caroline, just excuse me, just in general, given the opportunity you've had and the minutes you've been playing, increasing every game, how comfortable do you feel versus, say, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I think just being out there, you get more comfortable. You're more comfortable playing with different people, and I think it helps in practice. And so, yeah, I definitely feel more comfortable out there.
Anything else from Caroline?
Hi. I know you have a really good relationship with Avina, and you were talking about how she's kind of like a mentor to you. How has that helped you in like past games?
I think just she doesn't really let me get down on myself if I have a couple bad plays or miss a couple shots. She's like, you're going to hit the next one. So I think that's been really helpful to have someone like that, senior leader, one of the best players, and just to kind of know that she's supporting me.
Coach, Caroline outscored your 3 seniors by herself, and at least one of them had a really awful game. What's going on there?
Beats me. Huh? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Caroline's really good. You have an explanation?
Gino, you could see the fight in the team that seemed like better consistency, at least if you compared it to the Georgia Tech game, and you've talked about, trying to improve each and every game. Obviously the fourth quarter was a little bit of a collapse, but how did you see just both the I guess, the improvement, but also some of the same issues still kind of pop up in this game?
The same things have been occurring, whether it was before Paige and AZ and Nika. There's some element to our team where we are our own worst enemy a lot of times. A lot of the unforced errors that we make, they're just not very typical of Connecticut teams. That's just not the way we play. So that's become very difficult to deal with because they keep happening at the worst times. But there was a lot of things that we did really, really well. We obviously needed more help than, just what Caroline was providing. We needed more contributions from more people, for sure, and we didn't get them. And you're not going to beat a really good team without that. And I wish I had an answer, but I don't. And I guess I'm supposed to have the answers, but I don't. I say the same things to Caroline that I say to everybody else, and Caroline takes it to heart and does it, and other people don't. And we can sustain it for long stretches, and then we can't, because you do need contributions from a lot of people. They made some huge shots. They spread it around a little bit, and we couldn't get enough spreading it around. So we'll get better. Go ahead.
How exactly did you believe Dorka was able to sort of continue the momentum going, today after UCLA? I mean, you mentioned she had a really good practice on Friday.
Dorka's like a perfect example of what I'm talking about and what our team is. She'll go through stretches where she looks like the best player on the floor. And then she'll kind of need a breather, mentally, physically, whatever. But obviously we're starting to go to her more. Obviously we're starting to count on her more. And we're going to be counting on her even more as the season progresses. Because she's become really comfortable at practice, and she's become really dependable, So that's going to keep getting better and better.
Hey, Gino, Howard Magdal the next. Good to see you. At the risk of sounding glass half full about all this, you just beat a good UCLA team and played a Louisville team that's among the elite tough without your three primary playmakers. I mean, how much, I guess the two parts to this are, have you ever been in a position where all three of your primary playmakers are out at once? And how much of this is just a consequence of a thing that anyone would need to weather, to get to the other side?
Yeah. When you coach a long time, you pretty much see everything there is to see if you're in it long enough. There's been times when we've been down to 6 players. They were the right 6, and it didn't affect us that much. There were times when, I remember we played at Rutgers, and Sue was out, Shea was out, Swin was out, Amy Duran was out, and we somehow found a way to win the game because the people that we had on the floor that were left over were still damn good. What's the worst thing? What's worse than having 3 post players that can't play because they're hurt? 3 guards. You could always figure out a way to put 5 guards out on the floor and figure out something. You know, a lot of teams do that. We've done it. We did it in the Arkansas game. But when you're limited and your guards got to play 40 minutes and it's wearing. And, you know, as I said, I don't think anybody's having pity parties for Connecticut, you know, and I'm not like some other coaches that I've seen over the years sit up here and cry, you know, because their team's getting their ass kicked after they've won so many games after all these years. We know what the reality is. We know what we're dealing with, and you know, you show up, you play as hard as you can for as long as you can, and you hope that it's enough. And tonight, you know, we should have won the game tonight. We did enough things to win the game tonight, but they made shots when they had to make them, and we didn't, and that was the difference.
Thanks, Steve.
Gino, when you watch Caroline get an opportunity that maybe she wouldn't have had and do what she did with it today, I mean, is that a silver lining that you take out of this game that, hey, down the road, that's going to be another weapon that you might not have otherwise had?
Yeah, freshmen are funny, you know. It's not so funny when they're still like that when they're seniors, but freshmen are funny in that it's all really, really, really good or all a real struggle. There's no in between a lot of times. And obviously, you know, watching Caroline in practice, you knew that there's something pretty good about her. And the first scrimmage that we played against Boston College, you know, she played a lot and played a game exactly like today. It was almost identical to today's game that she played. So this isn't by any stretch of imagination something new that we haven't seen. And now the trick is when we do get healthy, building on that and coming out and individuals being better and our team being better 2 months from now. You know, so there's a lot of good to hold on to and a lot of things that you say, well, these things might not have happened if we had so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. I don't like to say that because they might have happened anyway. I mean, hell, they happened in the South Carolina game and we had everybody available for the most part. So there's some things that need to be addressed and it's going to be ongoing. This isn't a 1 week thing or a 1 month thing. This is a season-long thing for us.
Gino, Caroline went 40 minutes and, you know, was asked to do a lot. As much as a physical toll on her, for her to be mentally tough enough to work through it, is that a sign of progress that maybe you wouldn't have seen a month ago?
But the one thing, you know, if you say, well, what attracted you, like what made you want to recruit Caroline? I don't think it was her blazing quickness or her ability to get off her feet and play above the rim. So there was a mental toughness part that I find very rare in today's players. She has it. And then she has a sneaky way of getting points on the board. And so she's got that part. It caught up to her a little bit. I wish I could have given her a breather. I think she lost Van Lith, I think, twice. And she made 2 really big shots that were really killers. And, you know, some of that is you just get tired. You just mentally get tired. You get fatigued. And she'll get better. She'll get a lot better.
Gino, obviously things are not going great right now with COVID again. I'm guessing you weren't thinking this year you'd have to start worrying, are we going to be able to play the next game because of pauses and stuff? Are you guys doing anything differently with the holidays coming up, telling your team to be smarter or something that way? And where's your level of concern that when we come back you may have to have games moved or from that nature?
I mean, not to be, insensitive about it, because I think we've taken it about as seriously as anybody can take it. And we've done everything humanly possible in the last 2 years to help mitigate anything. And we've handled it great. But if we haven't gotten past that point, then we deserve it. We're our own worst enemy. If we're still dealing with this stuff 3 years later and we're still talking about canceling games, then, what's the point? What's the point of even talking about basketball? So I'm going about it as business as usual for me. I do what I have to do. I take the precautions I have to take, but at the same time, I'm done. I'm done with living, a way that I've had to live, like so many other people have had to live for X number of years, for a couple of years now. You get your vaccine, you get your second one, you get your booster, you get whatever shot they tell you to get, and then you cross your fingers and hope for the best. And if you choose not to do any of those things, then don't bitch that there isn't college basketball, because you're part of the reason. So I also think we're in a different place, that if 2 or 3 kids or somebody, a coach or somebody, we can isolate them and still play. It's not like where we were, where you have one positive case in the program, the whole thing shuts down. So at least we've made some progress.
Gino, what's your schedule for the players after they go home? When will they be back? And, and how much time do you get to practice before the 29th? And did you have a message for them for what you want from them when they're gone? Just to maybe to ignore everything for all I know.
I mean, it's Christmas, right? I mean, it's the holidays. So if you're home and you're worried about basketball, then you got your priorities screwed up, So for me, it's the same message every year, Get away from school, which they love. Get away from basketball, which is necessary. Put everything aside. It'll still be here when you get back. These breaks sometimes aren't long enough. You end up playing this particular game on the 21st or 22nd sometimes, and then you got to be back to 26th. So they're fortunate that they get a pretty extensive break, and they ought to take advantage of it. We got a couple kids flying tonight overseas. That's always an adventure, getting over there and then getting back. So there's a lot more things to worry about. The basketball will take care of itself, when we come back. It's basketball. It's not life and death.